Welcome to Voices of the Case. In this episode, we want to tell you the story of Elisa Lam. Accident, murder, or something else.
It's a case that, it really sticks with you. So many strange details.
Absolutely. The details surrounding the disappearance and death of this young woman gripped the world, and even now, over a decade later, the questions continue to swirl, don't they?
They really do.
We have a truly perplexing case for you today.
Indeed. The story of Elisa Lam is a deep dive into a mystery that feels like it's shrouded in shadows at every turn. You have a young woman vanishes from a hotel.
And not just any hotel.
No, exactly. A hotel with a dark past, only to be found in the most unsettling of places. We've gathered a range of sources for you, timelines, reports, and how this case has echoed in our culture, all to try and understand the key pieces of this truly tragic puzzle.
So let's begin by painting a picture for you. Elisa Lam was just 21 years old, a Canadian student with roots in Hong Kong.
Right, from UBC, University of British Columbia.
She was attending UBC, though it seems her studies were paused as she embarked on a solo journey across the United States in January 2013.
Yeah, traveling alone, that's quite something.
Think about it. Traveling alone by Amtrak and bus, even making a stop at the San Diego Zoo, which she shared glimpses of on social media. But it was her arrival in Los Angeles on January 26th that sets our stage for the unsettling events to come for you.
That's right. She checked into the Cecil Hotel, a location that, as you'll soon realize, feels almost like another layer of the enigma itself.
The Cecil, yeah.
Initially, Elisa was placed in a shared room on the 5th floor, but after only 2 nights, her roommates reportedly raised concerns.
About her behavior.
About what the hotel's legal team later vaguely described as strange behavior, leading to her being moved to a private room. Doesn't that detail immediately pique your curiosity, suggesting something out of the ordinary even before her disappearance?
It really does. And the Cecil Hotel, for you, it's more than just a building. It's a backdrop steeped in a history that seems to whisper of dark secrets.
Oh, absolutely. It's got a reputation.
Built in the roaring 20s with lofty ambitions, it sadly declined as downtown Los Angeles deteriorated around it.
Yeah, it didn't quite live up to the initial hype, did it?
Its history, as you might know, is interwoven with some truly grim episodes. The Black Dahlia, Elizabeth Short, is said to have been a visitor shortly before her tragic end.
That's one of the most famous connections, yeah.
In the 1960s, there was the unsolved murder of Goldie Osgood, the pigeon lady of Pershing Square, in her Cecil Hotel room.
Right, in her room, unsolved.
And then you have the chilling fact that serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Underweger both called it home at different times.
Which is just hard to wrap your head around. Ramirez was apparently just, walking through the lobby covered in blood sometimes.
Unbelievable. Even suicides occurred there, including one where the victim fell onto a pedestrian below, a double tragedy.
Jeez.
What does a history like that suggest to you about the atmosphere Elisa found herself in?
Well, for you, that history of the Cecil Hotel isn't just morbid trivia. It creates a palpable sense of unease, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It almost feels as though the environment itself might have played some unseen role in the unfolding events. While attempts have been made to rebrand it, even under the name Stay on Main.
They tried to separate the floors, right?
Yeah, but that shadowy past seems to cling to its walls, a silent testament to the darkness it has witnessed.
Now let's bring our focus back to Elisa herself for you. We know she was the daughter of Hong Kong immigrants who built a life running a restaurant in Burnaby, just outside Vancouver.
Hardworking family.
She had a history of bipolar disorder and depression, conditions for which she was prescribed a number of medications: Wellbutrin, lamotrigine, quetiapine, and venlafaxine.
Okay, so a documented mental health history. That's important.
These medications, as you might know, are often used to manage mood disorders. Interestingly, her family stated that she had no prior history of suicidal thoughts.
Which is what they maintained, yeah.
Though there was a report of a brief disappearance sometime in the past, doesn't that contrast create an early sense of uncertainty for you?
It absolutely should for you. The information regarding her mental health becomes a central thread in trying to understand what happened.
Right.
The specific medications listed indicate that she was managing a significant mental health condition. The family's assertion of no suicidal ideations, juxtaposed with the report of a previous disappearance, introduces a layer of complexity, doesn't it?
It does.
It makes you wonder about the full picture of her past experiences.
We also know that Lisa had an online presence, offering you a glimpse into her inner world. She maintained a blog called Ether Fields on Blogspot from 2010 to 2012.
Okay, Ether Fields.
It appears she used it to explore various aspects of her life, fashion, her daily experiences, and significantly, her struggles with mental illness.
So she was quite open about it online.
Seems so. In one particularly poignant post from January 2012, she even spoke of a relapse that forced her to withdraw from classes, leaving her feeling profoundly lost.
A relapse. Okay.
The title of that post is quite haunting. You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life, a quote from the novelist Chuck Palahniuk, which she also used as a kind of signature for the entire blog.
Palahniuk. Interesting choice. Kinda dark.
Yeah. Later, she moved her online reflections to a Tumblr blog, Nouvelle Nouveau, where you'd find similar themes and that same unsettling Palahniuk quote.
Nouvelle Nouveau.
What do these online writings suggest to you about her state of mind leading up to her travels?
Well, for you, these online expressions offer a valuable, albeit indirect, insight into Elisa's inner landscape. They reveal a young woman grappling with vulnerabilities and a clear awareness of her mental health challenges.
Yeah, she wasn't hiding from it, at least not online.
Right. That recurring quote from Palahniuk in particular speaks to a potential underlying anxiety or a persistent feeling of unease about her life's direction. The transition to Tumblr might indicate a change in her online habits, but the continuity of themes suggests that those personal struggles remained with her.
Throughout her travels, Elisa kept in regular contact with her parents back in British Columbia, a detail that likely offers you a sense of normalcy amidst the growing unease.
Daily calls, right, that's what I read.
Yeah, pretty regular. However, this contact abruptly ceased on January 31st, 2013, the very day she was scheduled to check out of the Cecil and continue her journey to Santa Cruz.
The day she disappeared.
Exactly. This sudden silence understandably triggered alarm for her parents, prompting them to contact the LAPD and make the journey to Los Angeles themselves to aid in the search.
I can't even imagine what they were going through.
No. Hotel staff who saw her that day reported she was alone. Interestingly, just outside the hotel, a bookstore manager named Katie Orphan had a memorable encounter with Elisa that same day.
Oh yeah, the bookstore sighting, that's key.
She described her to you as outgoing, very animated, and friendly, recalling that Elisa was buying gifts to take home and even discussing the weight of a book she was considering purchasing for her travels.
So acting, normally, planning for the future.
It paints a picture, doesn't it, of someone seemingly making plans and in relatively good spirits just before she vanished.
That last confirmed sighting by Katie Orphan is a crucial piece of information for you. It stands in stark contrast to any immediate assumption that Elisa was in a state of severe distress or actively fleeing danger at that particular time, at least on the surface.
Right, it complicates things.
The fact that she was engaged in mundane activities like buying gifts and discussing her onward travel suggests a degree of normalcy in her outward behavior just hours before she disappeared into thin air. Doesn't it make you question what could have happened so suddenly?
It really does. The police did conduct a search of the hotel, as you might expect, within the bounds of their legal authority.
They looked around, yeah.
They examined Elisa's room and deployed dogs to try and pick up her scent throughout the building, including the rooftop.
The dogs! That's another strange part.
However, as you might find unsettling, the dogs reportedly did not detect her scent anywhere.
Anywhere, not even the roof.
Not according to the reports. Sergeant Rudy Lopez later explained that a comprehensive search of every room wasn't conducted, as they would have needed probable cause to do so.
Standard procedure, I guess. But still.
What does the lack of scent detection on the roof suggest to you?
Well, for you, the lack of scent detection by the police dogs on the rooftop, especially in the vicinity of the water tanks, becomes a significant point of contention as we delve deeper into how she might have accessed that area.
Right. If she went up there, why no scent?
It raises the unsettling possibility that at the time of the initial search, she wasn't there. Or perhaps something else interfered with the dog's ability to pick up her trail. Maybe the weather.
Yeah.
Or something else.
Or something else.
It certainly adds another layer to the mystery you're trying to unravel.
Then, 2 weeks after Elisa was last seen, on February 14th, the LAPD released a piece of evidence that would propel this local missing person case into a global internet obsession for you. The elevator video.
Ah, the video. Yeah, that changed everything.
This grainy, disturbing footage came from a security camera inside one of the Cecil Hotel's elevators, time-stamped February 1st.
February 1st. So the day after she was supposed to check out and had stopped contacting her parents.
Exactly. Just the date itself after she'd already vanished Adds to the unease, doesn't it?
Absolutely. For you, the release of the elevator video marked a turning point, didn't it?
Completely.
The undeniably bizarre nature of Elisa's actions in that footage ignited countless theories and interpretations, transforming a missing person case into a full-blown online enigma that continues to captivate many.
The video shows Elisa entering and re-entering the elevator, as you can imagine, pressing numerous buttons, seemingly at random.
Like all the buttons.
Yeah. The elevator doors appear reluctant to close. She's seen peering out into the hallway, gesturing in a way that's hard to decipher.
Those hand gestures are particularly strange.
And at times, she seems to be trying to hide against the side wall of the elevator car.
Right, like ducking into the corner.
Adding to the unsettling nature for you is the fact that the timestamp at the bottom is obscured, which immediately fueled speculation about potential manipulation.
Yeah, people jumped on that, claiming it was edited.
Some viewers even claimed the video had been slowed down, or that segments of the footage were missing altogether. What does that suggest to you about the reliability of this key piece of evidence?
Well, for you, those technical anomalies in the video, like the obscured timestamp and the perceived alterations, certainly raise legitimate questions about its accuracy and what it truly captured. Whether these were intentional changes or simply artifacts of the recording and the process of releasing it to the public remains a point of debate, adding to the layers of uncertainty you're navigating.
But is Elisa's behavior itself in the video that truly gripped and disturbed people, didn't it, for you?
Oh, definitely. It's just weird, uncomfortable to watch.
Initial theories, as you might recall, ranged from her desperately trying to evade someone who was pursuing her,
That was a big one early on, hiding from someone.
to the possibility that she was under the influence of drugs like ecstasy or other party drugs.
Which seemed plausible given the strange movements.
Once her diagnosis of bipolar disorder became public knowledge, the theory that she was experiencing a psychotic episode also gained significant traction for you.
Right. That became a major line of thinking.
How do you interpret her actions in that unsettling footage?
Each of those initial theories attempts to provide you with a context for Elisa's erratic movements and gestures within the confined space of that elevator. The idea of her trying to escape someone aligns with those moments where she seems to be looking out and possibly attempting to conceal herself.
And of peeking out.
The possibility of drug influence could explain the disoriented nature of her behavior. And as you mentioned, a psychotic episode related to her bipolar disorder could certainly manifest in unusual interactions with her surroundings and a detachment from reality.
So multiple possibilities just from that short clip.
For you, it's about weighing these possibilities against the limited information we have. It's really hard to say definitively what was happening.
Days turned into weeks with no further word, no sign of Elisa. Then on the morning of February 19th, a truly disturbing discovery was made, the kind of detail that sends a chill down your spine.
Yeah, this part is grim.
Guests at the hotel had been consistently complaining about unusually low water pressure, and even more alarmingly, about the water itself being discolored and having a strange taste.
Complaining about the water. Ugh.
These complaints prompted hotel maintenance to investigate the source of the hotel's water supply. 4 large, 1,000-gallon tanks situated on the roof.
The rooftop water tanks.
It was inside one of these tanks, in a truly unsettling revelation for you, that Elisa Lam's body was found.
Found by a maintenance worker checking on the water complaints.
Yes, the tank, as you can imagine, had to be completely drained. And even then, the access hatch was too small, requiring them to cut it open just to remove her body.
They had to cut the tank open. That tells you something about getting in or out, doesn't it?
It really does. What does that image conjure for you?
For you, the circumstances surrounding the discovery of Elisa's body are deeply disturbing, aren't they?
Extremely.
The fact that it was these mundane complaints about water quality that ultimately led to the grim discovery highlights a tragic and unsettling irony.
Yeah.
The detail about having to cut open the tank to remove her body further emphasizes just how inaccessible these water containers were. Doesn't it make you wonder how she could have possibly gotten in there in the first place?
That's the million-dollar question. 2 days later, on February 21st, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office released their preliminary finding to you: accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. The full autopsy report, offering more grim details for you, followed in June.
Okay, so the full report came later.
That report painted a stark and unsettling picture. Elisa's body was found nude.
Nude, which is another really strange detail.
But clothing and personal items that seemed to match what she was wearing in the elevator video, along with her watch and room key, were found at the bottom of the tank.
So her clothes were in there with her, and her key.
Adding another layer to the strangeness for you, these items were described as being covered in sand-like particles.
Sand-like particles. Where would those come from on a hotel roof tank?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you make of that detail?
For you, those details from the autopsy raise even more chilling questions, don't they?
They really do.
The fact that she was nude but her clothes were also inside the tank is a puzzle in itself. Why take them off? And those sand-like particles are another unexplained element that begs for an answer. The presence of her watch and room key does suggest that these items were with her when she somehow ended up inside that tank. It all contributes to this growing sense of the inexplicable for you.
The report indicated to you that her body was in a state of moderate decomposition and was bloated, with a disturbing greenish discoloration and skin separation.
Consistent with being submerged for, what, nearly 3 weeks?
Around that, yeah. Crucially, the autopsy found no physical evidence of trauma, no signs of sexual assault, and no indication of suicide.
No obvious signs of foul play then, according to the coroner.
According to the report, toxicology tests were performed, though they were noted to be incomplete due to the condition of the body affecting the available samples.
Right, decomposition makes toxicology tricky.
These tests revealed traces of substances consistent with her prescription medications, as well as common over-the-counter drugs like Sinitab and ibuprofen.
Okay, so her prescribed meds were present.
A very small amount of alcohol was detected, around 0.02%, well below a legal driving limit. But notably for the theories you might have encountered, no recreational drugs were found.
No party drugs, despite the elevator video theories.
Not detected anyway. However, the report did acknowledge those limitations due to the state of decomposition. What weight do you give to these findings, considering their limitations?
Well, for you, the toxicology results present a complex picture. While the presence of her prescription medication suggests she had likely taken them, maybe not at the right levels, but taken them.
Possibly.
The absence of recreational drugs, despite some of the interpretations of her elevator behavior, is significant. However, the acknowledged limitations of the testing due to the condition of her body leave a degree of uncertainty hanging in the air for you, don't they? We can't be 100% certain about the drug situation.
Right. But perhaps the most perplexing aspect of this entire case for you, the one that truly defies easy explanation, revolves around how Elisa could have possibly gotten into that locked water tank on the hotel's rooftop in the first place.
This is the biggest hurdle for the accident theory, I think.
The doors and stairs leading to the roof were reportedly locked, accessible only to staff with keys and specific actuate codes. It was even said that any attempt to force entry would have triggered an alarm.
So, supposedly secure.
However, as you might find intriguing, the hotel's fire escape presented a potential alternative route if she knew about it.
Ah, the fire escape.
Interestingly, after her death, a video surfaced online, taken by someone who gained access to the roof via the fire escape, demonstrating that it was indeed possible.
So it wasn't actually that secure.
And that at least 2 of the water tank lids were open at that time.
Okay, that video is pretty important then. It shows a way up.
What does this revelation about the fire escape suggest to you about the hotel's security?
Well, for you, the issue of rooftop access is absolutely critical. The security measures described by the hotel painted a picture of inaccessibility for guests.
That's what they said.
Yet, the existence of the fire escape and the later video clearly showing how someone could reach the roof introduce a significant flaw in that supposed security, don't they?
It certainly does.
It makes you question just how secure the rooftop really was. Maybe getting up there wasn't the impossible part.
But then there's the sheer physical challenge for you of entering the tank itself. These were described as large 4 by 8 foot cylinders sitting on concrete blocks with no fixed way to climb up to them.
Right, they're elevated. Not easy to just hop into.
Hotel workers reportedly needed a ladder just to peer inside. The lids themselves were heavy and supposedly very difficult to close from the inside.
Heavy lids, that's another key point.
Yet, the maintenance worker who made the grim discovery mentioned that the tank lid was open.
The lid was open when he found her. Okay.
Adding to the mystery for you, police dogs, during their initial search, didn't detect her scent on the roof near these tanks. How do you reconcile these physical impossibilities with the fact that she was found inside?
It's really tough. For you, the logistics of entering that tank are incredibly challenging to reconcile. The sheer size and height of the tanks, combined with the weight of those lids, make it seem highly improbable that Elisa could have easily gotten in, let alone potentially closed the lid herself, assuming it was indeed closed at some point.
Which we don't even know for sure.
Right. The fact that the lid was reportedly open when her body was found further complicates this already baffling scenario. And the initial lack of scent detection by the dogs only deepens the mystery surrounding her presence on that roof. Did she get up there later?
How? So many questions. The debate surrounding her unsettling behavior in the elevator video, as you can imagine, persisted even after her death.
Oh, people still argue about that video constantly.
Some continue to believe for you that she was desperately hiding from someone, perhaps the very person responsible for her demise.
The pursuer theory.
Others maintain that she was simply experiencing frustration with the malfunctioning elevator.
Maybe it just wasn't working right and she was annoyed or confused.
And as we discussed, the absence of illicit drugs in the toxicology report didn't dissuade everyone from the theory that she might have taken substances that wouldn't be detected or had already metabolized by the time of the autopsy.
Right, the limitations of the tox screen.
What theory do you find most compelling for you when you consider the elevator footage?
Honestly, for you, the interpretations of the elevator video remain varied and ultimately speculative. Without a definitive explanation for her seemingly erratic actions, it continues to fuel different theories about her mental state and any potential interactions that might have occurred leading up to her disappearance.
It's just a snapshot, really.
Exactly. It's a piece of the puzzle that seems to resist fitting neatly into any one explanation for you.
The autopsy report itself, as you might expect in such a perplexing case, has also faced scrutiny for you.
Understandably so.
For instance, it doesn't explicitly detail the findings of any rape kit or nail kit processing, or even if these standard procedures were conducted.
Which seems like a basic step in a case like this, doesn't it? An oversight, maybe.
Or just not mentioned in the summary report. There was a notation about subcutaneous blood in her anal area, which some observers for you have questioned as a possible indication of abuse. Though a pathologist pointed out that this could also be a result of decomposition and bloating.
Right, decomposition can cause all sorts of artifacts.
The report also noted a rectal prolapse, another detail that adds to the unsettling ambiguity for you. What do these omissions and findings suggest to you?
For you, the lack of explicit information regarding the rape and nail kits in the publicly available summary of the autopsy is a detail that understandably raises questions and contributes to the lingering unease surrounding the official findings.
Yeah, it fuels suspicion.
The presence of subcutaneous blood in the anal area, while having potential implications of trauma, can also, as noted, be a post-mortem change. The rectal prolapse is another finding that requires careful interpretation within the overall context of decomposition, adding to the complexity you're trying to unravel. It's all just ambiguous.
Adding yet another layer of intrigue to this already baffling case for you, there appeared to be some initial uncertainty within the coroner's office regarding the official cause of death.
Oh, the checkboxes on the form.
Exactly. The report contained a form with boxes to indicate the manner of death: accidental, natural, homicide, suicide, or undetermined. The box for accident was dated June 15th. However, just 3 days later, the undetermined box was checked.
Undetermined, so they changed their mind.
Well, this was then reportedly marked as an error, crossed out, and initialed before the final conclusion of accidental drowning was ultimately released. An error. The Netflix documentary on the case offered you an explanation for this, suggesting a potential misinterpretation of dates and the undetermined marking as a procedural correction. But doesn't that initial hesitation still leave you with a sense of doubt?
It certainly should for you. That initial marking of undetermined on the autopsy report, even if later explained as a correction, contributed to the overall sense of uncertainty that has permeated this case from the beginning.
Right, it suggests maybe it wasn't so clear-cut at first.
It suggests that even those tasked with determining the cause of death may have initially had reservations or unanswered questions before ultimately concluding accidental drowning.
In the aftermath of her tragic death, something else peculiar occurred for you. Her Tumblr blog was updated.
Yeah, the post that went up after she died, that was eerie.
This was most likely due to Tumblr's queue feature, which allows users to schedule posts to be published automatically.
So a technical explanation. Plausible.
Plausible, yes. Her cell phone, however, was never recovered, neither with her body nor in her hotel room.
The missing phone. Another loose end.
The untaken to speculation for you that it may have been stolen sometime around the time of her death.
Or lost somewhere else. Or maybe taken by someone involved.
The unknown connection, if any, between these continued blog updates and her actual demise only amplified the overall strangeness of the case for you. What do you make of these digital echoes after her passing?
For you, those post-mortem updates to her Tumblr blog, while having a logical explanation in the Q feature, still carry an eerie resonance in the context of her disappearance and death.
It felt strange at the time.
Definitely. The fact that her cell phone was never found adds another loose thread to the narrative, potentially a significant one as it could have held crucial clues. These lingering digital footprints only deepen the sense of mystery surrounding her final days for you.
The tragic and utterly baffling nature of Elisa's death inevitably led to legal action for you. In September, her parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel.
Against the hotel, yeah. Claiming negligence.
Alleging negligence on their part for not adequately inspecting and addressing potential hazards that posed an unreasonable risk to their guests. They sought unspecified damages and coverage for burial expenses.
A reasonable claim, you might think, given where she was found.
The hotel, in their defense, argued that they could not have reasonably foreseen that Elisa would somehow enter the water tanks.
The foreseeability argument.
And that because the manner of her entry remained unknown, they couldn't be held liable for failing to prevent it. Ultimately, the lawsuit was dismissed in 2015, leaving many questions unanswered for you.
Dismissed. Wow.
What are your thoughts on the legal outcome?
Well, for you, the wrongful death lawsuit underscores the profound human impact of this tragedy. The hotel's defense, hinging on the unforeseeability of the event, is a difficult one to fully accept, given the unusual circumstances and the location where her body was discovered.
It feels unsatisfying.
It really does. The dismissal of the lawsuit may have concluded the legal proceedings, but it did little to resolve the fundamental mysteries that continue to surround Elisa Lam's death for you.
The Elisa Lam case has also, quite remarkably for you, permeated popular culture in some rather striking way.
Oh yeah, it captured the imagination, didn't it, in a dark way?
Many who followed the case immediately drew unsettling parallels to the 2005 horror film Dark Water, an American remake of a Japanese movie.
Dark Water. That comparison came up immediately.
The plot, as you might recall, features a dysfunctional elevator and the grim discovery of a body in a building's water tank, mirroring the chilling details of Elisa's fate with an almost uncanny resemblance.
The similarities are really freaky, actually, life imitating art.
What does this connection to fiction suggest to you about why this case has resonated so deeply?
For you, those uncanny similarities to Dark Water are indeed striking and likely played a significant role in the intense public fascination with this case. It blurs the line between real-life tragedy and the realm of fictional horror, tapping into a deep-seated unease about the unseen dangers that might lurk even in seemingly ordinary places, like your hotel water.
And the connections don't end there for you. The case appears to have directly inspired a variety of creative works. An episode of the TV show Castle, titled Watershed,
Right, Castle did an episode.
presented a strikingly similar plotline involving a death in a hotel water tank following the discovery of unsettling surveillance footage.
Clearly inspired by it.
Another ABC series, How to Get Away with Murder, incorporated a storyline about a missing sorority girl whose body was eventually found hidden in a water tank.
Seems like a recurring theme now.
Even in Hong Kong, where Elisa's family has their roots, a film called Hungry Ghost Ritual included a scene set in an elevator that seemed clearly inspired by the now infamous security footage of Elisa.
Wow, even internationally.
Chinese director Liu Hao even announced plans to develop a film directly based on her case, with the potential casting of actress Gao Yuanyuan. A controversial horror screenplay titled The Bringing also used the investigation as a backdrop for its narrative.
So direct adaptations were planned too.
On a more subtle note for you, the Zolas, a pop duo hailing from Vancouver, created a music video for their song The Ancient World, which they described as an idealized portrayal of Elisa's final day.
Trying to humanize her, maybe?
Aiming to depict her as a real and relatable individual,
Yeah.
rather than just a subject in a police report. The band Hail the Sun penned a song titled Disappearing Syndrome that was inspired by her story.
Music too.
There was even widespread speculation for you that the chilling season of American Horror Story Hotel drew inspiration from the Cecil Hotel's dark history and the perplexing details of Elisa's case.
AHS Hotel. That seemed like a pretty direct lift from the Cecil's vibe, yeah.
Sun Kill Moon released songs that even suggested the entire event might have been an elaborate hoax.
But a hoax, really,
Uh-oh.
that's out there.
And an episode of the Uruguayan show Voces Anonymous, and a debut single by the musical duo SKYND also delved into her story.
Stay Y&D does true crime songs, right? Makes sense.
Most recently, the Netflix documentary Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, brought the case back into sharp focus for a new generation of viewers.
Yeah, the Netflix doc really reignited public interest.
What does this extensive list of cultural references tell you about the enduring power of this mystery?
For you, the sheer volume and variety of popular culture references directly inspired by or drawing parallels to Elisa Lam's case underscore its profoundly unsettling and enigmatic nature.
It just has all the elements, doesn't it?
It does. These fictionalized and artistic interpretations often explore the underlying themes of vulnerability, the fear of the unknown, and the terrifying potential for the mundane to suddenly become a sense of horror. It speaks to a collective fascination with the unexplained and the fragility of life.
So with all of these unsettling details and unanswered questions swirling around us for you, is there a single, most consistent theory that attempts to weave everything together into a coherent explanation?
Well, the most commonly encountered theory you'll find suggests that Elisa Lam may have stopped taking her prescribed bipolar medication or perhaps significantly reduced her dosage.
Okay, the medication angle.
Potentially triggering a severe psychotic episode. Bipolar disorder type 1, as you might know, can indeed involve psychotic features, including delusions, hallucinations, and paranoia.
Right.
This theory interprets her undeniably strange behavior in the elevator video as a manifestation of these psychotic symptoms, perhaps reacting to perceived threats or imagined scenarios that were very real to her at that moment.
So the elevator video is seen as evidence of the episode starting.
That's how this theory frames it, yes.
This theory then goes on to suggest for you that she might have gained access to the rooftop via the fire escape.
Using that route we discussed.
Especially since there's no credible evidence indicating that she or any other hotel guest had access to the reportedly locked roof doors. What do you think of the fire escape as a potential entry point?
For you, the fire escape presents a plausible, albeit still somewhat speculative, means of reaching the rooftop, particularly given the later evidence showing its accessibility.
It's the most likely way up if she went up alone.
It directly challenges the narrative of a completely secure roof and offers a potential pathway for Elisa to have reached the water tanks without needing keys or access codes.
And then during this alleged psychotic episode for you, the theory posits that Elisa might have, in a state of delusion or hallucination, either accidentally or intentionally fallen into one of the open water tanks.
Fallen or climbed in deliberately, perhaps not understanding the danger.
Perhaps even opening it herself in a confused state. The lingering question, of course, is who then might have closed the heavy lid, if indeed it was closed.
Exactly, the lid problem. To address that crucial point for you, this prevailing theory often suggests that the tank lid might have actually been open when her body was eventually discovered.
So maybe the report of it being closed was wrong.
Attributing any mention of it being closed in initial reports to a possible error in communication or police documentation. Or maybe the maintenance worker just misspoke or was misheard.
Convenient maybe, but possible. And what about the unsettling detail of her nudity when she was found for you? How does this theory attempt to explain that?
The theory proposes for you that she might have removed her clothing while she was inside the tank in a desperate and confused attempt to escape.
Like trying to reduce weight or something. Or just confusion.
Perhaps believing the water to be some kind of barrier or obstacle, or maybe due to paradoxical undressing, which can happen with hypothermia, though that seems less likely here. Tragically, this action would have ultimately led to her drowning because she was unable to get out.
Okay.
The medical examiner's official conclusion of accidental drowning due to a presumed hallucination stemming from her bipolar disorder aligns, at least in a broad sense, with this overall line of reasoning for you.
It ties things together, sort of. However, as you might have already considered, even this seemingly consistent theory for you is riddled with significant flaws and unanswered questions, isn't it?
Absolutely. For you, even the most widely accepted theory has substantial weaknesses.
Like what?
There were no witnesses who reported seeing her on the roof, which seems odd if she spent enough time there to access and enter a water tank.
Someone didn't see her climbing the fire escape or wandering the roof.
Seems unlikely no one did,
Yeah.
but possible. And as we've discussed, the very logistics of entering one of those tanks alone remain highly questionable.
Yeah, getting in seems incredibly hard.
Particularly the ability to close the heavy lid from the inside if it was indeed closed at any point, even getting the lid open if it was closed.
Right.
These inconsistencies continue to fuel alternative theories and keep the mystery alive for you. The accident due to psychosis theory isn't airtight.
So we're ultimately left for you with these enduring and deeply unsettling questions. Was Elisa Lam's death a truly tragic accident? perhaps amplified by a medical condition that led to a fatal delusion in the strange and isolating environment of the Cecil Hotel?
A terrible confluence of factors.
Or despite the official ruling and the most prevalent theories, were there other, more sinister forces at play within the notorious walls of that infamous building? Foul play that was missed.
For you, the story of Elisa Lam continues to fascinate and disturb precisely because it defies a simple, definitive explanation.
It really does.
Despite the coroner's ruling of accidental drowning, the numerous unanswered questions and the sheer strangeness of the surrounding circumstances leave ample room for doubt and ongoing speculation.
The case of Elisa Lam serves as a chilling and unforgettable reminder for you of the fragility of mental health, the unsettling and sometimes terrifying power of the unknown, and how a single perplexing event can capture the world's attention, blurring the often tenuous lines between what is real and the darkest shadows of our deepest fears.
It highlights for you just how easily the ordinary can transform into the extraordinary, and how sometimes, despite our most diligent efforts to understand, certain mysteries may simply remain unsolved, leaving us to ponder the possibilities.
That's it for this episode of Voices of the Case. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.